I want to talk about Dorian Finney-Smith here real quick. I want to talk about a specific player as we kind of sit here today. For those, I'm a fan of Dorian Finney-Smith. Let me ask you this question, because I think you were am I right or wrong here? You lean more, you were a D'Lo fan, correct?
I was probably to a fault, but I was a D'Lo fan.
Okay, all good. You were a D'Lo fan. I was down to buy his plane ticket to any other team. We are like on
anyone.
We're like on
anything.
We're on polar opposites when it comes to the D'Angelo Russell piece of this. All right, so real quick, DFS obviously gets traded to the Lakers. I was a big fan of it. He's in an interesting spot. He's got a player option. I think he's in a great spot for him personally. I don't know how great of a spot, based on for the Lakers. DFS is, look, he's the type of player that teams need, right? You need a player that is a 3-and-D guy. He's a vet, been in the NBA for a while. I think he just turned 32 years old. I'm a fan of his game. I'm a fan of what he does. He's got a player option for about $15.8 million for next year. So coming up here pretty soon, he's going to have a decision to make in regards to what he's going to do with his contract. I was very disappointed in Dorian Finney-Smith in the playoffs, period. I don't think there's a reason to sugarcoat it. But I think the Lakers are in a tough spot here. First off, I got faith in DFS. I still think Dorian Finney-Smith could be a nice fit with the Lakers. If the idea and the concept with DFS is, if the concept is to start building around Luka Doncic, well, don't you want a guy that's got a great relationship with Luka that is, in my opinion, if you put him as a starter with the Lakers and there's your backcourt, I think that kind of solves some needs for the Lakers. I don't think we'll talk about Austin Reeves in a second. With that being said, what do you think? How much of a priority do you think Dorian Finney-Smith should be for the Lakers this offseason?
Massive priority. Massive. Yeah. We saw what just happened. They didn't have three-point shooting, they didn't have size, and they didn't have defense. Well, he solves two of those. So I know he didn't have the best series, but to what you said, when you lose in 5 games, it's not on one guy. It's not. There's a lot going into this. Also, Luka, I mean, they're good friends, it seems like. I think that would be a bad way to start off, because you lose Dorian Finney-Smith, you're just looking for a replacement for Dorian Finney-Smith. And to give Rob Pelinka credit, I thought that trade was really in the Lakers' favor. Getting rid of D'Lo for that. I liked D'Lo. Personally, I liked watching him play at times, but it was frustrating. You couldn't count on him. I mean, he would drop 30 a night, and then he dropped 2. Dorian Finney-Smith is pretty solid. They need more of these guys.
And can I say this too? It's more about fit. And I think that's I think the thing that comes to it more. I think more than anything else, and this is why, and you and I will get into it, this is the question with Austin Reeves. It's not that, we'll get to Austin Reeves in a second. For D'Lo, it's not that he's not a talented player. Is that what the Lakers need right now? And I just didn't think they needed a player like DFS more than a player like D'Lo.
Totally, and especially with Luka now. You saw Dallas gave you, when they went to the finals last year, they gave you the spreadsheet how to win with Luka, because you can't. You have Luka. We know his struggles defensively, but you deal with it because he's literally the best offensive player in the league. You have multiple bigs, not just one big. The Lakers can't go into this mindset with, we're going to get one big, because if he gets hurt, the same thing's going to happen next year. You have to have multiple bigs that you can throw at, just like when the Lakers won in the bubble with McGee and Howard and all these guys, and then athletic wing players that can hit threes and knock down shots. That's how Luka wins. Dorian Finney-Smith fits that bill. I know it takes a lot of the money up, but hopefully they can do something. The mid-level taxpayer exception, I know we always seem to kind of say that every year, but with Luka Doncic, that's people are going to want to come play with him. This is not like, no disrespect to Anthony Davis. I love Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis and LeBron, injury-prone Anthony Davis and LeBron getting up there in age, I don't know how attractive that is to young players to come play. Luka, people are going to want to come play for. And so they got to find some value here, but I think it would be foolish to let Dorian Finney-Smith go.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't think the Lakers, first off, when you make a trade and you give up value, your hope is that you're holding on to, you don't want a rental, right? You don't want just that player for just a short amount of time. You're hoping that you can hold on to that player for, obviously past whatever his expiring contract is, or in this case, a player option. I think DFS has value. I want to see Dorian Finney-Smith return to the Lakers. The question is going to be, if I'm DFS, if I'm Dorian Finney-Smith's agent, okay, he's 32 years old. You're not getting many more contracts. This might be his last contract that he can actually get paid in the NBA. I'm trying to get paid. And if that means I'm getting $20 million a year somewhere else, then I'm going to go get $20 million a year somewhere else. Now, I also feel like there's probably a good chance maybe he wants to come back to the Lakers. Maybe he likes the situation, the predicament. Maybe he's got a bad taste in his mouth as well with the way the season ended. Maybe he understands the potential with Luka and what the Lakers do from here. But I'm imagining if his priority is be the nice guy and take a little bit less money, or get my family as much money as possible from my final contract in the NBA, my final significant contract, I think he's going to get some money. I really do. I think, I think he's going to opt out of that 15.8, that player option. And then I think it's going to be up to, whatever the market looks like for him. It's going to be up to the Lakers to make sure that they probably give him what his market value is worth.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see bouncing around with Brooklyn and everything. Like maybe you get a little awakening of what it's like to play for a team that has no shot to win, and it's fun to kind of come back to that. I'm a DFS guy. I would like to see him. I think a guy that the Lakers should target that they could get for cheap is someone they just played. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a guy that he's not some great player. He's not going to come in and make us win a title.
I like him too. No, I think he's got good potential. I like his style, his size. I think he's a good player.
And young, lengthy. I think you can get him on a minimum, maybe the mid-level taxpayer, something like that. I think losing Dorian Finney-Smith, fine. What's the move? What's the pivot? Who are we getting on the open market?
They need him.
Much better than Dorian Finney-Smith.
They need him. Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of lean more towards of all the players of all the moves that the Lakers, could potentially make and how they're going to improve the roster. There's some guys it's like, no, I don't really think there's a plan B here. I think they need him. And is he going to cost you some money? Sure, he is. But let me read a couple of these comments here. DFS turned around the entire season. We were dead on D before him. DFS ain't giving Lakers a discount. He's going for them. By the way, I've told you guys this before. I mean, if you need to go get the money, go get the money.
Allen gets his bag.
Well, you got to get your bag. I mean, if you're worth X amount of dollars, then you should get what you're worth. The problem with DFS, I don't think it's a problem. I think this is going to play in his favor. I think there's a lot of good teams in the NBA that are competitive that know that DFS is of value. So I don't think he actually even has to sign with a crappy team. I think he could. There's so many good teams in the Western Conference right now that you can plug DFS on 5-6 teams and say, yeah, he's a good fit there.
And I think like why I'd lean toward DFS staying is look at Denver. Now Denver could win tonight. They could win on Saturday, and I could be kicking rocks or whatever because they end up going to the finals. But look what's happened ever since they let Bruce Brown go. Look what happens when they let KCP go. These kind of type of players. Now Jokic is playing the entire game. They're playing 6 guys, and Russ can't play off the bench. Yeah. I mean, these lengthy guys, this team would be lethal if they had kept one of them. And I feel like Dorian Finney-Smith, you may argue KCP's better, Bruce Brown, whoever, all the stuff. He's a kind of player of that ilk, and I don't know what letting him go does for you next year when you're trying to put a championship team on the court.
All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.